Origin Chance, Omushkego reaction. This is Native American myth, the Wendigo, the Omushkego tribe, extra mythology by the channel Extra Credits. I didn't know Extra Credits did the mythology video. Look at that. Yeah, since I started reacting to OSP videos, I love mythological videos. Not just explaining mythology, but also explaining the backstory and the history of it, where it comes from and everything. So it's always fun like that. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun video. Anwe the killer was a man skilled in death, and he approached the people in their hour of need. What is it, Witcher? Damn, that just sounds like that. To put to death the cannibals of Wendigo who had been torturing them. Yeah, okay. So, what is this? The Wendigo. I heard of the word Wendigo, obviously, from the X-Files, the TV show, and also some games and here and there. It's some kind of mythological creature, right? But he's talking about cannibals here. I guess we'll see. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, check out the reaction, there's a link in the description, check out the cast of the different playlists, check out the end cards, and yeah, let's go this one.
Ice heart, cold flesh, the chill wind blows. Hunger, all it feels is hunger. Eyes hollow, sunken, skin pale, ashen gray, stretched taut over its straining ribs. Mouth slavering, covered in blood. It is famine. It is the hunger that should never be. And far to the north, by the lakes that should be seas, it stalks the people.
It is the famine.
When the bitter winds blow, and the snows come, and the game runs scarce, the craving comes to some, the desire for human flesh. And as this thought possesses a person, their heart becomes ice, and they turn Wendigo. They forget that people are people, and not just animals to be consumed. And they become a danger.
Oh, that's what the Wendigo is, I guess. So the famine. Okay, so whenever, food runs scarce, obviously you need to feed your family. So people goes into this mental state where they become this kind of a heartless cannibals. Is that it? Okay, that's the mythology.
To all who pass them by. So the people put out a call for warriors to do away with the cannibals. One day, a man came to them, a stranger, not from the people, and he said, "I'm here to do the job." He was Anwe the killer, a man skilled in death. The people told him of cannibals, and he merely nodded and left.
Alright, I don't remember X-Files episode a lot. I watched that a long time ago, obviously, but it was, obviously it was around something that like a safe shift and things like that, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay, so this is the original Wendigo myth, right? That there are some people who, when obviously famine type situation happens, when there is no food, there is no game, that turn into this kind of, this kind of mindset where they just eat people, become cannibal. That's the mythology, yeah. If Anwar sounds like the Witcher. I'm here to do the job. Throw a coin to a Witcher, I guess.
He was a meticulous, practiced killer. He was not haphazard, nor a believer merely in tales. And so he went to the woods, hid, and observed every family. Where did they go? What did they do? There was one group that stood out to him from the rest. A large clan consisting of an old man, his wife, and their 7 sons. He watched them hunt and fish and go about their lives like ordinary people. But he knew that cannibals don't simply eat human flesh. They live like everyone else until the craving comes on them. Then they kidnap a
Okay, I never asked that before, but why does extra credits wherever they, animate anybody, they don't have, arms for some reason. Only have hands there.
And carve them up, just like wild game. And once they've eaten, they think of it just as a meal. No different from any other, and go back to their ordinary lives.
Yeah.
So he observed this family. They seemed...
Well, I guess that's the Dexter mentality, right? The TV show Dexter, where you have to blend into the community, even if you're some kind of that kind of a serial killer type of person, cannibal, but you have to blend into the community, otherwise you won't survive type of mentality. I guess that's what that is.
Somehow off, somehow disturbing and different to him. So he continued to watch them until at last he witnessed the aftermath of one of their meals. Finally, he was sure, and he began to dedicate all of his time to observing them, studying their patterns, and preparing his attack. He decided the old man was the weakest of them, so it
checking the bestiary, creating potions.
Would be him he would approach first. Each day, he followed the old man silently in the woods, and each day, while his sons were out hunting, the old man would check an abandoned beaver den to see if any of the beavers had returned that he might catch one for his family to eat. And when at last he was ready,
Alright, I'm not gonna lie, if this was some kind of a thriller type of movie, it would be like, somebody's in the woods, somebody's in the darkness, somebody's hunting them, then you see some shadow moving around. But in this time, it's the, people who are bad who are getting hunted. People, the Wendigo, the one who are the cannibals, who actually do the shitty things, they are the one being hunted. This is awesome.
Conway snuck up and met him there. "Hello, brother," he called to the old man. You see, he used his powers to make him look not like the powerful warrior he was, but thin, frail, and hungry. The old man was surprised, but greeted him, and Anwe said, "Come, help me prepare to catch this beaver." The old man knew there was nothing in the beaver den, but he played along, thinking that this frail man would be easy for his sons to kill and for
Okay, how are you so bulky and muscular then suddenly can appear, frail? But he tucked in his muscle or something? How does that happen?
them to make a meal of. Then Anwe says to him, "Lend me your poncho so that I may fix the hole in the dam. That way when the water rises, the beavers will take to their den." So the old man does this, and they both part ways, agreeing to meet there again at dawn. When the old man arrives home, he tells his sons that he met a man by the beaver den, and they gasp. They say it could be Anwe, because they'd heard that he'd been sent by the people to kill them. But the old man says, No, it couldn't possibly be him. He was nearly frozen and half starved." His sons, though, just become more suspicious. "I don't know. Anwe's very tricky," they say. So the old man says, "He is to meet us at sunrise. Let us go to the beaver den before sunrise and ambush him. Then he can be our meal." His sons, wary, finally agree. So in the bitter cold that comes before dawn, they hike out to the beaver den, and once there, see a strapping man, full-muscled and strong. He calls out to them and waves them over. The sons think they should spread out and try to take him by surprise, but the old man says no. After all, he might not know that they are the cannibals. So they approach as if to help, and Anwe tells them that he and the old man...
Oh yeah, he might not know. He was appearing to be frail and weak, and now he's suddenly looking bulky. I guess that was just a coincidence. He wasn't trying to do that. I mean, why would he try to do that if not trap us? I mean, he might not know we are cannibals.
will chisel a hole in the ice while the 7 sons go into the forest and get some sticks he prepared last night to use to get to the beaver. So the sons go off to retrieve the sticks, and Anwe and the old man chisel at the lake. Once they made a sizable hole, Anwe says, this has been thirsty work, and leans down to drink. Now, the old man thinks about knifing him right there, but as he hesitates, Anwe gets back up and says to him, you must be thirsty too. Go ahead, have a drink.
Alright, he was trying to look if he hits him or something, is that it? What he was trying to do, some kind of psychological game? What was that though? Why would you get, bend down like that just so your enemy can hit you?
So, slowly, the old man gets down to drink, and as he does, bang! Anwe stabs him in the back and kicks his body into the hole in the ice. But all 7 sons can tell that their father is dead and rush to the beaver dam. Anwe, though, put the sticks that he had sent them to fetch at all different distances, so they arrive one at a time. The first son rushes...
You are kidding me. Whoa, this is really calculated, right? He first of all, let's dig the hole, which I'm gonna throw you in. And they're like, what? This is nothing. I mean, this is just normal. And they just send him, okay, grab a stick. They are, laid out in the woods. I mean, not at one place, not all, separated. They're like, yeah, there's nothing here. Let's go there. You literally put, set up in a way that everybody just comes by one at a time. Nobody groups on him.
In. Anwe dodges the charge and stabs him with his ice chisel. Then he whirls around just in time to catch the second brother under the jaw. Right after that, the third brother shows up and tries to stab Anwe, but he is too fast and dispatches him as well. Brothers 4 and 5 quickly approach, but now Anwe has his bow, and with 1 arrow each, he dispatches them. Next comes the second youngest brother. That's number 6 for those of you keeping score at home. And this brother has true Wendigo powers. Vicious and cruel, he hurls branches at Onwe like javelins, but Onwe weaves between them and pins him with arrow after arrow, each time shouting, "Feel what you made the people feel!" Finally, the Wendigo topples and Onwe is left with only 1 more. Brother number 7 is the youngest and begs Onwe for mercy. But Onwe says, "How many times did you show mercy to the people who begged for their lives?" And the cannibal replies, "Never." And with 1 lightning-fast motion, Onwe slits his throat. Then he hid the bodies and crawled into the beaver den, knowing that there was 1 more foe. The old man's wife would be along that evening to appraise the meat she was to cook, and as dusk began to settle in, she arrived with a train of women, wives and servants of the 7 boys. Onwe called out to her to come into the beaver den, but she was too smart for that, and asked where her husband was. In the silence, it began to dawn on her what had happened. So with a mighty scream, she threw the stone mallet she tenderized the meat with at Onwe. If he had not been so supernaturally quick, it would have killed him. But instead, it merely grazed him as he charged, and once he was upon her, he split her head open with a stone. He then cried to the women, "Those of you who are captives, step aside." And many
How did this become an 80s movie suddenly? With the Advik, spitting out all this dialogues between the kills, and damn, this is ridiculous. I thought, it's going to be some kind of a supernatural thing, but, as far as I'm just saying, it's just a tribe of people, I guess, a family of people. They're just cannibals, and this guy's killing them, I guess.
Many women stepped back. However, a handful of Wendigo women remained. They fought and fought, but finally, he slew the last of them, and said to the women who had been captives, "You know what we must do." So they cut up the bodies and piled the pieces on a great bonfire, so they wouldn't come to life again. But as the bonfire roared...
Okay, as far as they know, there are people who are eating people up. They're cannibals, sure. But where did this supernatural Wendigo shit comes from? Was somebody just made it up? Even at the time, like, oh, there's such thing as Wendigo that takes over. It's a supernatural thing. So they're like, we have to cut up the body and burn them or something. What? They're just cannibals, man.
The hearts wouldn't burn. They just sat there, continuing to beat in the middle of the blaze, so filled with ice they were. So they gathered more wood and continued to feed the fire until the last frozen heart gave way. But that's not the end of the tale. So join us next time for our Mythology Matters segment for the history behind the Wendigo tale. Because seriously, it's gonna shock you. Now, would one of you poke the fire and make sure there's no frozen hearts in there?
Those were ice? Damn. Yeah, okay. I came into this video thinking it's going to be like one of those OSP videos where there is real supernatural mythology behind it, but as far as I see, I guess at the time there were people, obviously, if they were going starving, I guess, because there was no game, because of all the ice and shit, famine kind of, so they are like, one day they just decided to kill people and eat them, I guess. Then people just start to, I guess, create this rumor like there are some supernatural people with heart of ice or whatever. They just kills people. In the end, they were just cannibals, I guess. So they hired this killer, Anway, who just went there, killed them, just like, what he said here, probably, why not? And then, obviously, because of all the myth and ice heart and whatever, he cut them up and, I guess, burned them. But in the end, they were just cannibals, I guess. Is that it? I mean, there has to be some truth behind this. There has to be some form of truth, because this doesn't feel that far-fetched. Some cannibals, some were eating people up. Some killer went there to kill them. I don't know. Maybe the Anway had, accomplice or something with them. He wasn't alone or something. In reality, that could have been. But yeah. So this is the real origin of the Wendigo. I heard about the Wendigo a lot from games, TV show, X-Files. I'm like, what the hell? Is this some kind of a creature or something? Some mythological creature? But no, apparently it's this. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. There is also a video after the what is the lies type of video. You know what, I'm going to react to that as well. I guess it's like he said, something about the history of this. So yeah. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like, subscribe. Check out the Rick Sunday, there's a link in the description. Check out the cards for the different places, check out the end cards, and yeah, I'll see you next time.